have to love it when we get a straightforward, no-nonsense gospel story for our Sunday readings. Typically, Jesus speaks in confusing parables that leave the disciples befuddled and then surprised at the outcome of the story as it reverses their expectations. Today's story might have surprised the disciples and us, but there really isn't much confusion behind the meaning of the story of Lazarus and the rich man. It goes like this. A poor man named Lazarus wasted away on the doorsteps of a rich man's house, where he would eat in abundance and then throw the scraps to his dogs. He never acted cruelly or unkindly toward Lazarus. He simply failed to notice him at all. Both men die, and as Jesus tells it, Lazarus is reclining with Abraham and the angels, while the poor man is suffering eternal punishment, even begging for help from the one that he had previously ignored. His sin wasn't his refusal to help the poor or being rich in the first place, but that his priorities were such that Lazarus and his suffering never even entered his mind. Poet Mary Oliver wrote that attention is the beginning of devotion. And it's true that what we pay attention to reveals our main concerns and care. My children are masters at this. The worm under the rock, that lone wildflower out in the field, or that cloud that looks just like a dolphin, rarely are things of nature too tiny or seemingly insignificant to escape their attention. And because they notice, they are also able to appreciate, as something or someone has to first be seen in order to be loved. Jesus' audience might have been surprised that the rich man's failure to notice Lazarus qualified him for such torture, but the point is that even as we might blind ourselves, willfully or unwillingly, to the needs of others, God's priority and preference remain firmly with the oppressed and the marginalized. Note that Lazarus is named, while the rich man remains anonymous. It's a reversal of the way that we typically assign status and respect. How then can we reshape our own values to bring them more in line with God's values and sharpen our vision to see those needs that are right in front of us? We live in polarized times, not just politically, but in a country with an ever-increasing wealth gap between the very, very few rich and the numerous poor and working class, 140 million people in this country alone. Entire classes of people are oppressed and pushed to the margins because of things like race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, and so many more. We know that the poor are the hardest hit by environmental degradation that continues with climate change, by budget priorities that don't fund social programs, and by major events like the COVID-19 pandemic. Can we then take the time to notice those who are othered by society and move to those places on the margins to stand in solidarity and to work for justice? Even in death, the rich man fails to notice Lazarus' humanity. He's asking him to run errands for his own benefit. First, to dip his finger in water to provide some relief, and then to warn the rich man's brothers of their own impending doom if they don't shift their priorities. Abraham responds to this latter request by saying, if they will not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded if someone were to rise from the dead. In our day and age, we have all of the information and resources that we need, including the example of the one who conquered death, to bridge these gaps between the rich and the poor, between the have and the have-nots, those who are in and accepted by society, and those who have been pushed to the margins. Jesus' radical call in the Gospels is to reverse business as usual, and it demands a shift in our own lives, in our own attention, our own privilege, and our own priorities. To quote St. Ambrose, you're not making a gift of your possessions to the poor person. You're handing over to them what is theirs. For what has been given in common for the use of all, we often hold for ourselves. And the world is given to all, and not only to the rich. May we then hold loosely to our own possessions and wealth and offer generously our attention and resources to all.